this meeting of the August 16th Fitchburg Board of Public Works. Attending tonight on our board, Michael Granetsky is called in, Jim Wheeler, myself, and Kim Lobdell are here, along with City Engineer Bill Balke, also attending Transportation Engineer Andrew McFadden, and City Administrator Chad is here also. Our first order of business, public appearances for non-agenda items, which we do not have any. Samantha is here for agenda items, so we'll move on to approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the August 2nd, 2021 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Granetsky. Yeah. You have to tell my joke about the bear and the long pause in the bar. All right. Any questions on the questions or requested revisions on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, agenda item 4A, review of utility June P card purchases and July checks. Open it up to the board for questions on this. Jim?
Yeah, I have a question. It's on page 2 of 6. It's the June 24th purchase, and it says fan repair sweeper. I take it that's the older sweeper?
That's correct.
And how much money are we putting into this for maintenance?
That's one of the projects that we've got going on, is to get the totals of all the vehicles and what our maintenance is. I don't have that number for you, but I can get that for you.
Oh, okay.
Good question. Anyone else? Bill, I had one in the agenda package, page 5 of 129. It's more general. There's a couple of classes that someone took, a ecological class and a site assessment class at, I think it's University of Minnesota, probably a virtual class. Do you know who went? And I'm always curious, what they got out of that, or what were the topics? How does it apply to our work at Fitchburg? And so I'll leave that with you, maybe, unless you know it off the top of your head. Maybe you took the classes.
No, I didn't, but which class was it, or what page?
It's page 5 of 129 in the agenda package.
It's also 5, it's the fourth and fifth ones down.
It's dated 6/17.
17.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that one.
I always, if we're taking classes, I encourage that. Especially your engineers need continuous education, as I do. I always, my company, when they go, we always ask them to give us a small report of what they learned, how it's applicable to the job, and if they would recommend it to other people in the company. All right, any other questions then? Seeing none, then let's move to agenda item 5, a report from the department head, Mr. Bill Balke.
Construction's in full swing, as usual. Fish Hatchery Road, we're nearing the 3/4 mark, so we're getting a lot closer to completing those projects. No major traffic switches in the next month over there, but we will be seeing some more curb and gutter and paving in that area. Cyene Road water main construction is ongoing, and they're working their way from north to south, so that project should wrap up close to the end of September for the water main project, and then the paving project will take place in October. So that one's ongoing as well. The operationally wise, I guess we're just doing what we normally do out there, trying to take care of any holes that are in the roads, take care of the storm sewer projects that we've got that need to get repaired, the pond maintenance, the roadsides mowing that we're doing. So it's just a lot of busy work out there, trying to keep our systems maintained. So.
Questions for Bill? Jim, Michael, Kim?
Nope.
I had one or two. Is the sidewalk ever going to get opened up on Mckee Road? They've had a barricade and signs laying there for the longest time, and I ride home that way, and I'd prefer to stay on the sidewalk, because when I go out on the bike, I'm in merging lanes of traffic on the bike lane, and it looks like they're done there, or the sidewalk could be, looks like the sidewalk could be opened.
Are you talking right up by Verona Road, pretty much?
Yes, just
On
before,
the
just before.
north
by the-
side?
By the, it's closer, yeah, it's just about where the bike lane moves out onto the road, almost exactly there. And it's a sidewalk by the, I think it's right by the bridge.
Yeah, just past the bridge, I think.
Yeah, and it's been closed
I-
forever, and
yeah.
it looks like sidewalk is done, they're maybe doing a little grading work, but I can't. Sign is laying on the ground, and
I noticed that today when I drove by too.
it's been that way, so if you could look into that. Second, I know this isn't our project, but do you have any sense when MMSD is going to pave the Cannonball Trail to finish that up? I've had a lot of people ask me. It looks like it's compacted and ready to go.
Yeah, that project, they're looking to pave it. They were on the schedule for this week. And then they've got to finish up the restoration behind the path and everything. And that'll take about a month, because there's a lot of trees that have to get planted through that whole corridor. So their completion date is October 1st, but they're hoping to get it done a lot sooner than that.
And then I had one more, and this is maybe a little outside of the board, but maybe former chief and city administrator Chad Brecklin can weigh in. We have a lot of construction going on around the city, and a lot of dump trucks, and they are dumping considerable rocks on the road. Riding home the other night, and there were 3 chunks of concrete, each about as big as a football, laying in the bike lane on Mckee Road. I had to stop and throw them in, and I don't know if we could ask the police to maybe, when they see these trucks, hey, you gotta have your cover on there. It's a hazard on the bike lanes on the road. There's so much loose rock, and I think it's because they're not sweeping the back end of their trucks off probably, and second, they're leaving the top on. I don't know if that's something you could talk to the police about addressing, Mr. Brecklin.
I think that would be difficult for the police to address, because you don't want to see the load come off, so. I do know the drill. I was trying to stay back there. So I think it'd be difficult for the police to address. You'd nearly have to see that load come off for you to be able to articulate beyond, at least beyond the standard that's needed for a citation, that the load was unsecured. Mere potential for the load to come off would not be enough grounds for a citation or even a stop, unless you can somehow articulate that you saw the load come off, or a motorist called to report debris coming off of the truck. So, and then you also have to look at the resource capabilities of what our police department does.
What can we do? They're driving, this is dangerous. I could have been killed. Those chunks were, if I had been looking back to check for traffic, they were literally 3 as big as footballs laying in the bike lane. And nearly every bike lane, I came down Lacey Road, I'm on Spoke and Sprocket, anywhere I'm riding on the road, it's full of big gravel hunks, and I don't ride a mountain bike. Do we have an ordinance in the city that requires them to have the cover on these loads when they're traveling, or clean their trucks off? This is a public safety, this is a public safety issue. I haven't got a rock in my windshield, but I'm surprised I haven't, the number of trucks I'm following.
As far as that goes, we'd follow the city ordinances, adopt what the state motor vehicle code is on that. So they require that your load is secured in general terms. So until the load comes off, and I haven't read that statute in, let's just say, a while. To be honest with you, Alder Herbst, I don't really see that there's much that the city can do proactively. It's unfortunately a more reactive situation when something has come off a truck or has hit a windshield or those sorts of things.
Is there any way we could notify if it's the gravel pits or the construction job. I mean, if it's Fish Hatchery Road traffic, we could have our guys tell the contractors at their weekly meeting that people have been reporting there's issues with things falling off trucks. I mean, just as that's about the only thing you could do proactively is some of the construction projects going on, we could have the construction leaders. You know, I know we have weekly meetings on Fish Hatchery Road, and we'd be happy to have our staff remind them, you know, of the fact that they should be careful. But you know, it's a small step, but it's a step.
Okay, thank you, Chad.
You're welcome. We've done something similar to that with Seminole Highway traffic north of PD, where we've talked to the gravel pits and Payne and Dolan over on Commerce Park. You know, but I wish there was more that could be done, but there's just not a lot of options there.
I know that, you know, I used to work for a utility, and our trucks, you know, that would haul things like that, that was a big deal. You could be fired if you left, if you didn't clean off the back, and you know, and here they seem like, yeah, all right, we're gonna fly around and throw debris all over. All right, thank you, appreciate your time. Didn't mean to drag you into my personal vendetta here. Okay, all right, let's move into, anything else, Bill? No more questions? Then we're gonna move into our agenda items here. First we have is Resolution R 14921, a resolution approving a typical section for South Cyane Road reconstruction project from Aurora Avenue to West Clayton Road. Do we have a motion to approve?
I am recusing myself from this item, so I
Thank
guess
you.
that means I have to leave, right?
I would ask you to, yes. I'm sorry. Standard protocol. I'm not,
I will go ahead and make the motion to approve.
okay. Moved by Gronetsky. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Wheeler. Okay. Andrew, could you come up? Give me 1 sec here to get back to my computer screen here. So Andrew, you know, there's, is it one, just so I'm clear, is it one cross-section, or are there different cross-sections for different areas of the road here? Maybe you could clarify that for me right off the bat.
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And I can just share my screen, that might help. Let me explain. So what you're seeing here is there are 3 cross-sections along the project extents. We have a typical cross-section included in the resolution, and that's cross-section B here, kind of the majority of the corridor. But we do have an A, which would kind of more adopt ditch or curb and gutter. So that'd be more of a rural section kind of through here where we don't have adjacent homes or businesses. And we also have a C that would be a potential for parking on the east side, basically terrace or parking. It doesn't affect the overall or the west side of the corridor, but we do still have that provision. And that's mainly just, we want to get in front of the public one more time and kind of talk through that a little bit more.
Okay. Do we have a public meeting scheduled?
Not yet. We're looking right now in September.
So are we getting the cart ahead of the horse?
So I guess the hope is that we would get some direction here, get the plans laid out, and then go back to the public for both kind of their review of the corridor and intersection control.
Okay. Sounds good. I'm going to open it up to the board members for, Andrew, is there anything else you want to say about this right now?
No. Yeah, I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
So Andrew, it just looks like the variability on all the different options is sections are the roadway itself is pretty typical throughout. And then on either side, you've got some variances as we go through some of the unique features of this particular road, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, the actual asphalt surface will be the same throughout this. It's just a question of curb and gutter versus ditches and terrace versus parking in different sections.
Jim? Any questions?
Yeah, Andrea, I see you have the buffered bike lanes in there for all of the typical cross sections. And then I see in the survey, it looked like people aren't really happy with that amenity. So I guess my question is, would we make a motion now to get those out?
It is in our authority to do that. And that is the board's preference, and I certainly would entertain an amendment to do that. Before we would go down that route, though, I'd like to make kind of three comments. This was essentially the same cross-section area, very similar that was approved for Lacey Road. And a number of things there. One, the public was concerned about the truck traffic from the quarries, which I don't believe we have here. Second, we had a TID or TIF, paying a significant portion of that. This, it's, one-tenth the cost. And, this is, existing, a lot of this is existing neighborhood. I'd like to keep it as narrow as possible and still have it safe. And third, back to, we spend a lot of time talking about climate change. The wider we make our roads, the more runoff, the hotter, the more impervious surface. So, in my comments, I think you probably suspect I would have been in favor of removing those, but I would entertain a motion if someone would be in favor of that.
You say you're not in favor?
I am in favor.
Oh, okay.
This is a different, each of our roads needs to be looked at individually, and a lot of the rationale for approval of the Lacey does not apply here. So if I look at 4 feet, roughly 10% of the cost, I'd like to take that out. I rode here on Lacey Road today, Spoke and Sprocket. I'm on Seminole Highway all the time, all roads without a buffered bike lane, and experienced bikers do just fine. And less experience can be on the very nice multi-use path that we are proposing here. So.
And I agree with your assessment, especially looking at the cost. And, we got a few things out there, assessments on residents that's costing money. So I think we got to really be cognizant of those costs also than the other things that you mentioned. So I would move to amend this to remove the 2-foot bike buffers.
Do we have a second to that amendment? I will second it. We'll call the vote. All in favor of the amendment to remove the bicycle buffers signify by saying aye. Oh, Michael?
I think we had somebody in the audience who has a comment.
And Bill has something.
Come on up, Samantha. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't bring you up here soon.
No, that's okay.
Anyone?
Anything? Okay. No, thank you. Sorry about that. I just wanted, Samantha Herheim with KL Engineering, we're the design consultant working on this project. I just wanted to add to the conversation that the buffered bicycle lane is consistent with the City of Fitchburg bicycle pedestrian plan recommendations for an arterial roadway. So I just wanted to add that as, part of the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and before we vote on this, on the amendment, Andrew, can you verify? So it looks like in section C, which is going to probably be the most populated of those, that there actually is no bike path on the south side.
Yeah, you're talking about west side, sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, west side, yes.
So that, the existing bike path on the west side jogs there around the historic property. And so what you're seeing in cross-section C is really that historic property section. And so that.
Okay, so there is a bike path, but it's further off.
There is, yep, that's correct.
Okay, all right, cool. So there will be a bike path all throughout there.
Exactly, yep, there's a good bike path on the west side, the existing condition, the extent of the project. And just a quick back of the napkin would suggest that the buffered bike lanes would contribute roughly $300,000 to the project. So there's certainly, that's kind of back of the napkin, but it wouldn't be 10% necessarily. Because there's a lot of other, components such as storm sewer and that sort of thing.
And then just other comment I'll get on the record, being the citizen representative, I know that this board worked on Lacey Road, had a lot of public input that was not recognized by the council. I also too would be in favor of the biford bike lanes. I hope council does something with that.
All right. Samantha, thank you for the comment. I would admit I've been beat over the head with that one quite a bit, and I've done a fair amount of research on it, and, we are not obligated in any means to, this is in there, so it has to be done that way. I've read it, I've talked to a lot of people, it's a recommendation, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yep.
Then we'll call the vote on the amendment. All in favor of the amendment to remove the buffered lanes from the cross-sectional area signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Then on to the main item. All in favor of the amended resolution R-149-21. Is there any further discussion on that?
Bill has a question.
Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, just, I didn't have an opportunity before you voted but I walk Lacey Road 4 times a day, 15 minutes each direction. So I'm able to watch every single car that passes me while I'm walking there. And I would say a good 50 to 60% of those cars are driving in the buffered bike lane. So without having any buffer there, they will be driving in the bike lane themselves. And whether that's good or bad, that with a 10-foot travel lane, that's what you're facing in that area. But I'm just saying, just from my observations, about half of the cars are driving in that buffered area.
I believe part of that might be because it's a buffered area. The wider road. I won't dispute you, Bill, that's your observation. I would say on Lacey Road, though, what residents will tell you that, you can watch the tumbleweeds go by between bicycles going up and down Lacey Road over here too, so.
It's interesting, because I've been riding my bike a lot too, and some of the information, when they talk about buffered bike lanes or bike lanes in general, they talk about lane deviation. And what I actually see is without the buffered bike lanes, cars are actually moving over, to give more room to the bicyclists. So that's my observation. I think your observation is good also, but I think the other side of that is that you do see vehicles moving to the left to give the bicyclists more room.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that observation. Any other questions or comments? Okay. And we'll call the vote. All in favor of amended resolution R-149-21 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have Samantha, thank you for.
Thank you.
Could you let Kim know she can come back in? We're probably in the middle of getting some important work finally done today.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have Resolution R-152-21, a resolution approving a public water main sanitary sewer easement on Lot 1 of Sunflower Estates. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Moved by Wheeler, second by Lobdell. Discussion, Bill, it indicates you need this easement to serve a couple of buildings here. Is that essentially correct?
Correct. The Sunflower Estates it's a condominium association or development that was constructed a few years ago. And on a condition of the plat was that upon final construction of the infrastructure improvements, the sewer and water, that a easement of sufficient width would be drafted over those utilities. And since the utilities are in and accepted, this was part of the final agreement to be able to record that easement in the correct location.
All right, so there's nothing, everyone knew about this, and there's nothing controversial. Thank you. All right. Any other questions for Bill on this? I'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 152-21, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, resolution R 163-21, resolution approving an agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of River Song. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. Discussion, it looks like they've gotten, the agreement looks in place and it's been reviewed.
Did you skip the wayfinding?
You skipped one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wayfinding signage? You went
Was that on the
to
first
D.
page?
No,
Oh,
it was
I'm
on the
sorry.
bottom of, or top of,
The top.
we can do D if you want, but just
Oh.
so you know you didn't do it.
Did I read 163-21? Let's stay on that and then we'll come back up to see. I'm sorry. I can't read here. So on the 163-21, subdivision improvements in the plat of River Song, the agreement looks, is there anything out of the normal here, Bill, or anything that gives you concern on this one?
No, it's for the installation of sidewalk and street tree wells within the area.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Yes. All right, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 163-21, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Next, thank you. Resolution R 144-21, authorizing acceptance of the fabrication and installation of exterior wayfinding signage project bid. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Wheeler, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell, thank you. Previously, for people watching, we had this out and the bid was rejected. We tightened up the specification, went out again, and is this the same vendor that would have been the low bid the first time?
I'm not sure, no.
No, okay. So we came back, we tightened the spec and got bids, and the city is satisfied that this is a reasonable bid, a good price, and I would like, maybe Bill, can you just, a lot of people, they don't watch these all the time. Can you give a quick summation of what we're doing with the exterior wayfinding signage project? It's not that clear reading it. When you read through the packet, it is, but.
Yeah, generally what you're looking at are some signs along our major roadways that would direct you to locations in our community of, a good destination like City Hall campus, library, fire stations, schools, things like that, a person coming into our community would need to not familiar with the roads, would want to find those major destinations. So we have these signs that are going to be located on those major roadways that give direction to those vehicles and the people that are driving in our community. It's an update to our system that would include the new city logo, the new colors that we've implemented over the past 10 years, and it's an update to some of the signs that you might see out there already. So these 52 signs that we're going to be installing they're going to manufacture them and install them for the bid price that you have in the packet.
Are these installed on separate posts? Are they put on streetlights? What are we doing with it?
It's a combination of both of those. We are using existing poles where we can, and in those areas that we cannot, they are going to be installing them on a specified pole that we have in the plans.
I'll play devil's advocate, as is my preference. I would ask, are they needed in this age of GPS and people's cars telling them where to go?
They are helpful. If you're coming into the community, you can't always be looking at the little screen. They will catch your eye, so it's something that they're large enough to be able to direct people and get them going down the right direction.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping you'd say. Any questions?
Yeah, what budget is this coming out of?
There's a capital improvement plan project from a few years ago that they put money into the budget for this. It would be coming out of the general fund.
So this isn't necessarily a public works project. I'm always confused when non-public works projects come before the Board of Public Works.
It is a construction project in the way that the signage is being located within the public right-of-way.
Okay.
So that's the oversight that we're using for this project.
Okay.
Jim?
I have a question. So I see there's $10,315 for contingency and spare materials in case of sign knockdowns. As a matter of practice, don't you keep a budget for signs that are knocked down? You know, just in general.
In general, we do, yes, but we don't have that in the budget. Usually we will, as part of the capital project, have a few extra posts and signs as part of the capital. Otherwise, that would come out of the operating budget, which is totally tax-driven and not, might be borrowed, funding for this.
Thank you.
I'll follow up on Jim's question. That $10,000 is in there in the project. Maybe we go 3 years or 5 years, no signs are knocked down. How does that carry through? I guess maybe Misty should be here to ask that question.
We would purchase, maybe Andrew, he's got some specifics on this. He's
Come on up, young man.
more in the details of it.
I think Bill was going where I was going to go. But yeah, basically, this is just for some specialty items that we don't typically have in-house. So that would be the pole bases and the poles themselves, potentially some blanks. But that would be mainly the kind of foundations which are non-standard from the rest of our signage.
So we would buy the materials. We would buy the materials now. We wouldn't just have the money reserved if we.
Exactly.
Okay, you answered my question.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions on that? Okay, then we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 144-21, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, on resolution R 160-21, would someone make a motion to postpone this resolution to a date uncertain, I guess?
So move.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Bill has indicated this is not ready at this time. So then we'll call the vote. All in favor of postponing resolution R 160-21, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is postponed. Next, I would entertain a motion to postpone resolution R 159-21, approving subdivision improvements with Fitchburg townhouses for public improvements along Notre Dame Drive. We have a motion to postpone.
So moved.
Moved by Granetsky. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Lobdell. Any questions? Same again, Bill has indicated. Developer needs to do a few more things yet on this one. So we'll call the vote. All in favor of postponing resolution R 159-21, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed? It is postponed. Next, thank you for holding on, Scott. Next, we have Resolution R-15821, a resolution to reject bid for site work, Mckee Farms Park Inclusive Playground. Do we have a motion to approve this rejection of the bid?
I'll move to reject the bid.
Moved by Lobdell, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Granetsky. Scott, can you enlighten us here?
Yes, yes. You may have heard that we're in the process of installing an inclusive playground at Mckee Farms Park. And if you're familiar where the splash pad is at Mckee Farms Park, this inclusive playground will be to the west beyond the grove of trees that we have there. And actually, there's three pieces to this project. The first piece, which was recently approved, was the playground module along with the installation of that module. So that playground structure is on order. Another piece which we're dealing with tonight is the site work in order to get ready for the playground. And basically, the site work involves a couple different components, including some earthwork. If you're familiar with the site, and actually what we had to do with the installation of the splash pad is we had to raise the site to make sure that we stayed out of the floodplain. So there's some common earthwork was included in this. We're also doing a sidewalk around the border of the playground, which was included in this bid, along with a split rail fence. With it being an inclusive playground, we needed to confine the area so that, you know, participants didn't just walk off. So we're included a split rail fence around the playground, along with some multi-use path, some blacktop paths that connect the inclusive playground to the splash pad. We did bid this. We only received one bid, and we did open that bid, and it actually came in. The engineering estimate, which I think is included in your information, was about $67,000, and the bid came in at $141,000, or more than half the cost of the engineering estimate. So staff is recommending that we reject this bid. We are working on, because certainly we have to get the site ready for the installation of the playground. So we are working on strategies, both with our internal workforce, some force work, along with some contractual work to get the work done prior to the installation of the playground. And then actually the last component of this project is poured in place surfacing, which is a rubber surfacing that we place underneath the playground. Typically we'll put wood chips, but with this being an inclusive playground and needing to be accessible, we need to do a poured in place type of surfacing, but that's yet to come. So before you is a recommendation from staff to reject the sole bid that we did receive for the site work. So I certainly am here to answer any questions that you may have.
Are we going to run into any deadline constraints or any sort of additional fees if we don't get the playground structure installed in a reasonable amount of time?
Well, I would suspect that there probably is a 60 or a 90-day kind of window. So we certainly, you know, we need to get the site prepared and ready, and we are planning to do that if we need to with our own staff. And basically, we'll have to haul in material and then get it graded so it's at the correct elevation in order to get the playground installed. So it really is something that we need to get done to continue the progress of this project.
Scott, was the, I'm trying to reconcile the difference, when you only have one bid, it's kind of hard. Is it the fact that was the price of the fill that they had to bring in? Did we miscalculate that? If we do it with our internal resources, where are we getting that fill to raise the elevation?
We would get it from our own stockpiles, Dave.
Okay.
And really, I think it was a quick turnaround, so I suspect, certainly the group would be willing to mobilize to get it done for a price, but,
Yeah.
that was the only group that we got to bid on.
Yeah. Well, it's a small project. Kim, you want to?
So you're not planning to rebid it?
That's not our intent, right? We, like I say, the playground is ordered and we're going to expect delivery of that probably in 6 to 8 weeks, and we'd like to, get it installed when we receive it. So prior to that, we need to get the site ready for that installation, if you would.
You have buy-in from our internal crews to do it.
Yes.
They wanted,
This
they
is-
would like to
Yep,
do this.
well, and this is Mr. Friedland and Mr. Hodel, who are,
Okay.
they want to get the work done for us. So certainly they are very busy, but we do work with local contractors, and they're confident that they can get it done. And actually, at the end of the day, it is going to be less expensive, but certainly with it being a public construction project of this magnitude, we did have to, publicly bid it. So
Understood.
that's kind of the rules that we're under.
So how do you, are you using contractors or are you using internal staff? If you're using contractors, how do you expect to pay for it without having it gone to a public bid? Or
What
without
we do
accepting
is,
a public bid?
Yeah, there's rules that we have to follow when we do these types of projects. If it's between $5,000 and $25,000, we need to get three quotes for this work. And as I mentioned, we're going to break it into three separate components. First is the earthwork, which we're looking to hire a group to come in that have the dozers, that have the GIS capabilities. We can give them the grading, and then they can put it into their grader, and then Jordan and his crew and Mark's crew, they'll bring in the fill, and then they'll grade it. That'll be one part of the project. Then what we'll do is we'll get prices on the split rail fence installation, and then we'll get prices on the sidewalk work along with the blacktop work. So we are, and actually, in fairness, we are meeting with city administration, the finance director, to make sure that we're following the rules as they're put together, to make sure that we're doing it the way we're supposed to. So.
Any questions for Scott?
No, just a comment that I have. Got an email from a constituent, which basically has been following the process here. And it appears that when this was first started, it was supposed to be donated money in the city with pretty much match. So what that person's point is that, now that this bid is rejected, now we're coming back and we're going to use city staff to actually do this project, which is a small amount. I mean, I think from the finance director, about $39 an hour, but $5,000 in staff time. But the point I want to just make is that these things do sound good, but we got to be cognizant that it's not perfect all the time. And when we say that we're going to get donations and we're going to complete these projects, sometimes we got to look that it is going to come back to the city. Now, the worker salaries are already in the budget, but still, it's a cost. So I just wanted to acknowledge the constituent who actually has brought this up.
And if I might, Mr. Herbst, just provide some follow-up information regarding that.
Please do.
Yeah, and actually, I appreciate the comment, Alder Wheeler, and the Fitchburg Optimist Club have raised $70,000 towards this project, and they're really looking towards utilizing those dollars for the port-in-place portion of the project. So at the end of the day, it certainly is going to be a partnership between the city and the Fitchburg Optimist Club, but just wanted to rest assured that there are going to be donated dollars that come into the project, And I certainly understand the constituents' concern, but just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that there is going to be donated dollars that are going to go towards the construction of the project.
Thank you, Scott. Jim, I would just add, if the optimists are involved, they came through on the splash pad, they were the driving force behind that and brought sizable donation to the table for that. So if they're in, I have confidence that the donation will be there. Thanks for raising that issue. Any other questions on this? Okay. Then we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 15821, rejecting the bid for the inclusive playground grading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Next Board of Public Works meeting to be determined. So Labor Day is the 6th. Bill, is there delaying it a week? Is that going to run into any problems, or would you like us to try and do it on a Tuesday? I don't know what's on the plate.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not exactly sure.
All right. If you do need it, if it can't wait an additional week, let us know, and we'll see if we can find a way to fit it in on a Tuesday. Anything else? Then I'll just a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.